Good morning, guys. Bear with me. I'm literally minutes removed from my slumber this morning. I've been trying to wake up a little bit earlier and earlier every day just to really regain some sort of routine in my life. It's very easy to slip out of a routine, especially when it goes against your nature, right? My specific nature is a night owl, so whenever I want to wake up early, it's extremely difficult for me to do. I do most of my best work at night, and I wouldn't advise for most people to go against their nature. If you've ever heard of the chronotypes, if you haven't, look it up. It's very interesting, and it basically means when you best perform at a specific point in time during the day, whether it be morning, midday, night, evening, whatever it may be. Human beings evolutionarily were created differently, right? So if you think back to the times where we were tribal people, it made sense that some people were uh, made, I guess, to be awake during the night, while others were made to be awake during the day. So there was always somebody watching over camp, and naturally, this would happen. So this is why the entire like wake up early, cold shower, all of this stuff going against your specific nature isn't necessarily going to help you succeed. What it can do is build resilience, right? But it's not going to necessarily make you a better entrepreneur, a better business person. In fact, it could actually hinder that if you're going against your nature. The journey I'm on right now is about resilience. So that means that I have to go against my nature to create that extra mental toughness in my life that I seek at this point in time. So part of my morning ritual, I guess you could say, is taking in knowledge, and I like to do this when my brain is foggy, right? Because I really have to struggle to excuse me, guys. I really have to struggle to understand the knowledge that I am taking in. Now, at the moment, this means reading this book, right? And I just wanted to share with you guys what I read here this morning because I think it's an important part of doing business and living life in general. Now, I'm going to sort of read out this phrase here, and then we're going to just have a look at unpacking what I believe it means inside of business, more specifically than life at the moment. But I mean, it's all the same thing, right? So, this is a statement by Marcus Aurelius, written into his Meditations, which were never meant to be a published book, guys. Meditations is Stoic practices. Marcus Aurelius, the last great emperor. Told you my brain's foggy. These were his personal thoughts, and that's why they're called meditations. People get confused and they think that this is a book about meditations, about meditating, right? It's not. Meditating can mean many things. It's not just. It's more in recent days where it's like where you sit and it's reflection is what it is, right? Meditations are reflections, and these are Marcus Aurelius reflections of his thoughts. So anyway, let's get into this. So it says, all you need are these: certainty of judgment in the present moment, action for the common good in the present moment, and an attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way. Now, what does that mean? Sorry, guys, if you can hear my kids stomping around up there. It's you got to get used to that when you watch my videos. So, what does this mean? What does this mean? So, certainty of judgment in the present moment. For me, this means to control your perceptions, right? So, to control your perceptions of everything. Perception forms your reality. Certainty of judgment in the present moment. So, are what you perceive to be truths actually true? Before you make any action, which is actually the next thing, right? what you're perceiving to be true, the facts in front of you, are these true perceptions, or are they just your perception? You need to stop and unpack these things in front of you before you move on into certain action. You can't be certain about your actions unless you're 100% certain about your perceptions, right? So let's just move past that one and into the next one, and then we'll come back and revisit this. So the next one is action for the common good in the present moment. Action for the common good in the present moment. So this to me means to direct your actions properly, right? So to ensure that once you're certain about your perceptions, that you take the correct action, right? And you're not taking an action based upon false beliefs, and you're taking an action that you're certain is the correct action, and an action that is going to improve your position or the position of the people you love or the position around you in a positive way, and not affect yourself or anyone else negatively. It's very easy to create actions that affect you and yourself and the people around you negatively if your perception is skewed, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. An attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way. An attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way. So for me, this means the willingness to accept what you are not in control of. Okay? The willingness to accept what you are not in control of. So I'm creating a video right now and I'm not in control of my neighbor slamming his truck doors over there. But I won't allow that to affect me, right? Or to affect this video. I thought, that's a good one because you guys probably heard that big bang just now. The willingness to accept what's outside of your control. This is a big one, guys, because a lot of people are affected internally. They allow external factors in their lives to affect them internally. Factors that are just completely out of their control. And it affects their mood, it affects their perception, it affects their action. And therefore, it affects their lives in a negative manner, right? Whether it's their business life, personal life. It's all one and the same, guys. I say this all the time. Business and personal life is one and the same. It's still your life. It's no different. So let's go over these again. So if we control our perceptions, let's look at this in terms of Amazon, right? For argument's sake. So if we can control our perception of... Okay. If we look at it like this. What is our perception of Amazon? What is the perception of more specifically, publishing books? What is the perception of the strategy, right? This sort of goes back to first principles thought. If you haven't seen my video on first principles thought, check that out. It's just how to think scientifically about things, how to really unpack what you think you know down to the core fundamental truths and then build on it from there. So what I'm talking about here is strategy with Amazon. So what is our perception of our strategy that we're currently publishing into Amazon? Whether it's public domain like what I do and teach, whether it's low or no content, is your perception of the strategy that you're using right? Is it true? Is it true? Is it just? Is it real? Right? Or is your perception skewed by knowledge that you think you have but are not true? Use first principles thought to really knuckle this down, to strip back what you think is the right strategy to use with KDP or Amazon to its core fundamental truths, and then build your perceptions off what you know to be fact. Scientific fact, right? What you know to be fact. So that's the way to really to know 100% sure this perception I have about this strategy that I'm running is real. It's true. So therefore I can move into the next thing, which is taking action, right? Or directing your actions properly to ensure that you're not just taking aimless action. If you're taking aimless action based on false beliefs and false perceptions, you're going to go in circles forever. You're never going to achieve that success that you so vigilantly seek with Kindle Direct Publishing or anything in life, right, guys? That's why I say business and life, it's one in the same. I'll say it over and over and over again because it is. Because what we're using here, this little strategy that I've just, learned, and my perceptions of this strategy, because this is a perception, what I'm telling you right now, because I've only just read these statements in the last 30 minutes, right? And I've just had a time to really sort of think them over and make this video. So strip down your strategy to the core fundamental truths. Build your perception from this and understand that I'm pretty confident my perception about this strategy is true. And then take the appropriate action, the action that's going to properly take you in a direction you need to go, right? So therefore implementing your strategy in a way that's not aimless, in a way that is concise, in a way that will reap results, right? The results that you seek. And then the last one is the willingness to accept what's outside of your control. Now, the only thing that's really in your control in business is what you do, is your strategy. Is your perception of your strategy truth? Are you taking the appropriate actions to implement your strategy concisely, right? Ensuring that your strategy is rock solid. Then you need to accept that what Amazon does from this point is outside of your control. There's nothing you can do to make Amazon rank your book quicker. You've already done it, right? So there is things you can do, but the action you took was concise, right? So you've already done everything humanly possible that you can do from your end to make sure that Amazon has all the factors they need to rank your book. And if you're running ads, to make sure that your ads are 100% on point to ensure that Amazon has all the factors that it needs to show your book to the correct audience, right? And then, like my strategies are all organic. So we run ads here and there, but it's not part of the overall strategy, right? So for me, the hardest thing to do, and my students, because I've seen this inside of my student group, is to accept what Amazon does next. As long as if you believe, right, that why are my books not selling? Why am I not making as many sales as I thought I would? Or something like this. Then you need to revisit these 3 steps. You need to revisit your perception. Was your perception correct from the start, right? You need to revisit your action. Did you truly take your action properly? For Amazon to have every single factor that it needs, all the variables in place for your book to rank and for those sales that you wished to make to happen, right? And then if the answer is yes, absolutely it is, then you need to accept what's outside of your control, which is Amazon. Now, this is something, especially with my strategy, there's a certain point where it hits, right? Because you've got the 80-20 rule. Now, the 80-20 rule pertains to almost everything in life, business, especially Amazon businesses. When you publish with low or no content, ghostwriting, public domain, 1 book is never enough. 2 books is never enough. 3 books is never enough. You always have the 80-20 rule. Now, sometimes it's less, right? So with ghostwriting, you might need to publish 10 books to get that hit, right? That 2% out of that 10, that 20%, right? To actually take off and make you money, while the other 8 books make almost nothing. It's like this in every strategy. With low and no content, it's the same thing. Quantity matters, guys. People won't tell you this, but it does. With public domain, it's similar, right? It's less so than with low and no content, but only 20%. Now, that's not a hard figure, right? The 80-20 rule is just a broad spectrum rule. But a small percentage of your pool of books will make all of your sales. Now, even when you've got all your ducks stacked in a row, your perception of your strategy is on point. Your action of putting this strategy into place is on point. You've given Amazon all the variables that it needs to rank your books and make sales. Still, It's not in your control when Amazon ranks your books. It's not in your control how Amazon ranks your books. It's not in control. It's in your control to give Amazon, 8 new categories, but they may not put them in the categories that you asked for or suggested. That's not in your control. And you need to accept these things, right? Eventually, it will hit. If you've had all of your ducks lined up in a row, eventually it will hit, and your 20% of your catalog will start bringing in 80% of your income. And your income will grow, and that 20% will grow if you publish into the data. Right? Now we're talking about strategy, but I wanted to show you guys in this video more so how philosophy can affect not only the success of your business, but the success of yourself and your mental state. Now, without implementing the correct philosophies into your business, like what we've just discussed here, it's very easy to burn out. It's very easy to allow that those things externally control you internally. You can't have that in business. You need to overcome these things. This is an obstacle, a personal one, that you need to overcome. And if you don't, you won't succeed. You will burn out before you get there, because success is a journey. It's an extremely long, arduous journey, right? It's akin to the Vikings of times past battling the giant seas, right, to find the riches at the other end of the southern lands. So, okay, guys, I'm going to read Marcus Aurelius's statements from Meditations 9.6 one more time, just to finalize this video and leave you with words from one of the greatest emperors to have ever lived. Okay. All you need are these: certainty of judgment in the present moment, action for the common good in the present moment, and an attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way today and into the future. Alright guys, you all have a good one.